Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 1 of my Let's Play series. You have joined Episode 16, where hopefully we won't be dying a whole lot in this episode, mostly because I plan on staying indoors. I thought we've made enough progress today. There's my brother Kavito. See, it's kind of dark outside. Let's go take a nap. But I did want to show you a couple of things before we get started today. I've been doing a little bit of work around the base. I did manage to get all of our farmers up and running. I've run all the power conduits. I've managed to run all the item conduits. We are starting to get a little bit of a backlog on the seeds and on the canola. Finally, I upgraded our capacitor bank over here. I think I can actually get rid of this guy now. Oh no, he's still serving that guy. We need to hang on to him for just a little bit longer. But we are slowly starting to build up. I've upgraded these from the 1 million RF storage capacitor bank to this is now a total of 2 of the 5 million capacitor banks, and I'll run through that really quickly. And that was this guy. I took a redstone block, some electrical steel, which we craft with iron, pulverized coal, and silicon. I also needed to make some of these double layer capacitors, which are 2 basic capacitors, some of the energetic alloy, a little bit of coal powder. And from that we were able to, I had enough material that I was able to craft 2 of these. So now we will be able to store up to 10 million RF here. I took our 1 million RF capacitor bank, and it is actually upstairs in my processing room, where I've also expanded the drawer system in here. Got a few more kinds of ingots since I've been mining. I've got an additional alloy smelter that I use just for smelting things like my energetic alloys to help with making the conduits. And here is my 1 million RF capacitor bank. Use that for charging things like my ender, so I don't have to run all the way downstairs just to charge it. Today, I wanted to work on getting our grid system going. And I believe that the grid is going to basically solve our storage issues for quite some time to come. So the first thing we're going to want to make is the controller. And that's going to be this guy. For that, we're going to need a diamond, some silicon, some of this quartz-enriched iron, and a machine casing, which I've already crafted some of our quartz-enriched iron. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So let's get our machine casing. And the quartz-enriched iron isn't hard at all. That's just a piece of nether quartz and 3 pieces of iron, which hopefully I've crafted up enough that I should be able to get our controller. And the other thing that we're going to want to start getting crafted are some of these solderers. And that's going to be some quartz-enriched iron and these sticky pistons, which we make with a regular piston, which is just any planks, some cobblestone, iron, and redstone. And then you take the piston and we need to combine it with some kind of a slime ball, slime bucket, lots of different ways to make the sticky piston. And hopefully, if I did my math right, I should have enough to get 3 of these, which I do. And what we're going to want to do is let's come down here. Let's grab a few power conduits. I think I may have enough to make this work. I've only got a small handful of them left, but I shouldn't need too many to get this going. Because the controller is going to need some power. I think to get this started, I should have some power conduits running right over here, I believe. And I do. Excellent. Oh, that was unintentional, but not a big deal. There we go. Hopefully I should be able to just pop this cobble right back in there. Yeah, there we go. Now I should be able to pop this controller down, like so. And it would have been helpful if I had grabbed my Yeta wrench. I did not think about grabbing it. And I'm going to set that to insert. And now that we have the controller is going to basically power all the rest of the grid system. So I should be able to pop these down, and they should be getting power. They should be powered. So the next thing I'm going to want to make to get our grid functional is the grid. And to do that, I'm going to need some of this quartz-enriched iron, another machine casing, and a whole bunch of these different kind of processors. We need a construction core, a destruction core, and an improved processor. And if we look, this is going to be a basic processor, which we get from iron. Basically, we're going to want to solder some iron. So we'll start with this, and then I'm going to run back upstairs. We're going to need a little bit more silicon and a little bit more iron, which I should have enough to make this happen. And we'll just grab a stack of iron, because we're going to end up needing a lot of those processors. We're also, let's just start off with the stack of the silicon. We're going to want some glowstone, and I think let's just turn that into a whole stack. There we go. We should be able to start getting this soldered up. So let's see here. Let's pop in our silicon over here, and let's pop in some more iron. And let's see what else we needed. We've got plenty of nether quartz. Those basic processors come from the iron. So we'll want to combine the basic processor as a printed basic processor, redstone, and printed silicon, which we should be able to start getting this stuff rolling. And over here, eventually we'll be able to make some upgrades that will help speed this stuff up. So in the meantime, while that is crafting, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I plan on hooking up. And you know what? I'm going to go grab my wrench. Let's just go ahead and grab the wrench. I believe it's here. Yep. And I'm going to disable this just for a moment, because I'm going to want to do something kind of sneaky. I may need to put some stuff into my backpack here. Some of the stuff I'm not going to be using for a minute. There we go. And what I'm going to do is a sneaky little thing, because I'm going to want to access my drawers with the grid system, and I'm also going to want to keep my little setup here to where it can access the drawers. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of oak trim, and I'm going to attach this controller slave. So I should be able to just pop these things right back in. I think just for safety, I'm going to go ahead and disable this so I can make sure to get my filter attached before we get that hooked back up. And I believe this was on in out, insert on green. I'm going to double check this here. Yeah, extracting on brown. Insert on green. Extract on brown. Always active. And I should be able to just pop my filter back in there, and everything should be just like it was. And now what I've done is I'm going to relatively easily be able to access this with an item from the grid that will let me basically be able to see it with this grid that we're going to be making. I know that doesn't sound, that's not a very good explanation, honestly. But we'll make some more sense of it here in just a little bit. See, now I've got these basic processors. So we should be able to start working in, let's see, a little bit of glowstone and a little bit of redstone. Oh, you know, I think that one I'm going to have to make in the solderer itself. We've got our construction core, improved processor, that's made in a solderer. Oh, nether quartz, that's what that was. We needed nether quartz. There's the destruction core, construction core, and we also need an improved processor, which is a gold ingot, redstone, and a piece of printed silicon. We're going to need 2 of those, so I'm going to need to do 2 pieces of gold. So let's get that cooking, and while that's cooking, I'll run up here and grab another piece of gold. I'm just getting all kinds of turned around today, aren't I? There we go. That wasn't terrible. We've already got that piece of gold. I believe we just need this one more. And now we should be able to get 2 of our improved processors. There's the one. And 2. So, we're going to need another machine casing. So let's run back upstairs real quick, where we keep all of our crafting stuff. Oh, need that machine casing. There we go. And now we have a grid. Look at that. Now that grid's going to be pretty worthless, basically because it's not going to be hooked up to anything. And let's just see if I have the stuff. Crafting grid is going to be an advanced processor. I will need a diamond for that. And I'm going to say let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and make that happen. Honestly, the grid is fairly nice. but a crafting grid is going to be way better. So let's go ahead and get those cooking. And I want to look at something. Hopefully I've got enough resources to make this. This is an external storage device from Refined Storage. We're going to need a couple of chests, a couple more of these construction and destruction cores, some more improved processors, any chests, some cables. We've got almost enough to make that happen. So there's those. Destruction core was those basic processors and nether quartz. Oh, I've done this before. Need a little bit more iron. Oh, I've got some right there. Third. There's our construction core. There's the destruction core. I need to make another improved processor. Shouldn't be too hard. We can just grab a little bit more gold. And these things are a little slow, but as you can see, they're not terribly slow. Get those out of there. That out of there. I want another couple of these if I can. I'm going to want at least 2 of these because I want to be able to access our metals, and I'd like to be able to access all of those blocks, from our old storage room. Improved processor. Should be able to make those now. And let's go see if we have a couple of chests floating around upstairs. I should be able to make some easy enough. I did also upgrade from the large chest to this small storage crate from Actually Additions. And you can see this thing holds a lot more items than the small chest can. So let's get a couple of chests. And hopefully the gold is done. It is. So we should be able to make those pretty easy. Crafting table. I should just put a crafting table downstairs. I'm trying to avoid it though. So I should be able to make these now. Yeah, let's get a couple of those. And I should also be able to make our crafting grid, hopefully. Oh, that's in a solder. I need a crafting table, a grid, and an advanced processor. So let's get a crafting grid. Or a grid, I should say. Or a crafting table, how about that? There we go. Then as soon as this is done processing, we should have our crafting grid. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you what I was talking about with this external storage. I should be able to pop this right there. And I'm just going to double check that is set for items. The redstone, I've never terribly messed with that. You'll discover that almost all of these blocks from refined storage has the ability to interact with the redstone signal. I've never needed to use it, quite honestly. I don't know that I would, but it is, I guess, a nice option just in case you want to for some reason. And one of the other things I crafted ahead of time was some of these cables for the refined storage system. Cables are not terribly difficult to make. It's quartz-enriched iron. Any 2 glass and redstone will get you 12. So I basically did, I think, 2 or 3 of those crafting operations. Oops. Eventually there is a wrench that we'll want to make just for the refined storage. And these cables can connect anywhere, basically. Anywhere where the system will have access. And I'm thinking that it might be kind of cool. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this crafting table right here because I'm not convinced that I'm actually going to need it there for much longer. Okay. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and bring this right up here. And now hopefully our grid is done. Or our crafting grid, I should say. Well, that processor was done. Now we can actually get to doing the crafting grid. There we go. Now that should cook up into a nice crafting grid. That shouldn't take too terribly long. That RS, 1 RS is equivalent to 1 RF. I think they may have some plans down the road to have its own kind of power generation. I'm not sure about that. But that RS is for the refined storage system. You don't need to worry about trying to go from one kind of power to another. One thing I probably am going to do is expand this power system. We're going to have enough for now. I've got plenty of canola. The press is keeping up just fine. The fermenting barrel is keeping up just fine. This thing will eventually be able to stop once it fills this up. But as you can see, we are generating 100 RF a tick from that oil generator back there. Most of the time, we're hovering around between 50 and 60 of a net gain. Occasionally, I'm using a little bit more power than we're generating, though. Not by much and not for long. We do have an overall net gain. However, I do want to make sure that we continue to have that net gain. Because eventually we will. We're a little over halfway to the 10 million. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. But probably between this episode and the next one, don't be surprised if when we come back again, there is a larger power generation system down there. See how I want to do this. Thinking maybe right there. I should be able. I'm just going to pop a block there for now. And now I have access to everything that's in this room. Isn't that nifty? And it's all because of that external inventory. And I'm going to show you again because we're going to do something very similar right here. I think I put my shovel in my backpack. There it is. So again, I'm going to want to use these oak trim. These are normally used in places where you want drawers to connect, but I've discovered that we can use them just like this, and it doesn't hurt anything. So I'm going to pop my other controller slave, and I'll show you guys how to make those too, so don't worry about that. And what I may end up needing to do, though, is craft a few more of the cables. But I don't know that I'm going to have enough to make it all the way over there. I've only got 13 of them. Oh, we do. We had enough. So now I should be able to go back upstairs. And when I look in the grid now, in addition to all of these things, we should be able to see all of the metals. And there they are. There's our iron ingots. You're also going to be able to see anything in these compacting drawers. See how I can see the blocks of quartz. I can see the actual nether quartz. I can see all the different metals we have. And because those metals are in compacting drawers, I'm also going to be able to see the block form of those metals. So isn't that neat? So we have a grid system now. I can put a lot of that stuff away. I'm going to go ahead and assign my cables to a drawer. And I do want to try to make one more, but let's go over that. And I'm going to, I do want to make sure this is set to JEI synchronized. That's my personal favorite mode for this search box because as I'm typing, for instance, if I want to look for iron, this is everything I have in my inventory that is related to iron. Conductive iron, pulsating iron, iron bars, blocks of iron, more conductive iron. That's a conductive iron block. But it also looks for iron in the JEI over here, the Just Enough Items mod. So what I want to do is I want to make another external inventory or external storage. So let's see if I have enough, and I don't have quite all the things I need to make that. So what I'm going to want to do is I need to make another construction core. And see, I don't have spots anywhere in an available inventory for those items to go anywhere, so they couldn't go anywhere. So this might work now. Yeah, there we go. There's our construction core. And you'll see exactly why I want to do this here. Did I run out of those? I ran out of those. I'm going to need to make another one real quick. What was that again? Basic processor, redstone. Need a little bit of redstone. In probably the next episode, I don't know that we're going to have time to get into it today, but for the next episode, I'm going to show you guys how to automate this part of it. There's some more items from refined storage we're going to be able to make, like these crafters. Let's see if I can bring one up real quick. There it is. We're going to need these crafters, quartz-enriched iron, construction cores, advanced processors, destruction cores, and this is going to send items into these machines. And to get them out, we're going to want another item called an importer. And it's similar to the external inventory, except its only purpose is to import things. I generally set up the importers underneath, and I generally for machines have them on the top. So let's see where this is. There's our basic processors. So we should be able to get back to making another external inventory. I'll just go ahead and pop one of those in there. And I believe we needed an improved processor, so we're going to need a little bit more gold. And I think this is the last piece that we're going to be waiting on today. We are getting close to the wrapping up point for the episode. Oh, did I just grab a bunch of nuggets? I did. I grabbed a bunch of gold nuggets. It was not what I wanted. There we go. So let's get this last piece of gold cooked up. Then we'll be able to do I have redstone on me? Of course not. Why would I have brought redstone? It's only something we needed. But hey, at least I'm still alive through a whole episode, right? There we go. Now we should be able to get this bad boy crafted. And I do love the way that the grid and the drawer systems interact. Most of this is possible because of the way that these things talk to each other. As you'll notice, I do have some empty drawers up here. But because this drawer is locked, the grid is not allowed to place items inside of any of these empty spots. So, let's get our external inventory, or external storage. And what I should be able to do is, for just a minute, I'm going to break that connection. And I should be able to just pop that right there. And that should have brought our grid back. And now, in addition to all of these items, I should be able to see all of the items that are in this chest. So I should start seeing things like my coal, which I can. There's my coal. And awesome. So now, when I go to clear things, if there's not a spot for it that I've assigned, it should end up in this chest. And there's my excavator. And I can show you guys again. Let's pop in my hammer, maybe the wrench. Let's pop in some tools and some of this extra stuff. And when I look in the chest, it's all right in the chest. And that's why I wanted that third one. I wanted that third external storage. Just so that when I'm doing these crafting operations and I want to clear that out, there's somewhere for this stuff to go. Now, you guys don't have to set it up this way. There's other ways to set it up. However, I did want you guys to at least see some of the potential that this system has to offer. And in the next episode, we're going to work on expanding this system a little bit more so we can start getting into some auto crafting. We're going to work on expanding our power system a little bit. So when I come back in the next episode, I at least want to have a couple more of those. At least a couple more. And you can see we're already almost to 3/4 full. So we do definitely have a positive net gain overall. But I do think that that is going to wrap up today's episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Be sure to leave some comments if you're liking these episodes. Like it. If you want to subscribe and always be notified when I upload new episodes, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by today, guys, and take care.